Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I'm right now here in northern Florida, near Panama City. If you want to find anything about me, go to MySpace, where I have a page. I also have an account with Twitter and with Facebook. This here is how to destroy the United Nations. Before I start, let me say that I'm not some right-wing cooper or something, or someone that hates the American government. I have no hatred for the American government. I'm, mainstream pretty much like everybody else. I'm just concerned, like a lot of Americans, the way our country's being governed. But this here is dealing with the United Nations. There is a way to, let's just say not destroy the United Nations, let's just say reform it. But reform it in a way that it no longer exists as it does today. Let me go through this real fast with you, because I have less than 10 minutes to do this, on how the United Nations can be reformed and at the same time removed completely, and its central power structure completely demolished, destroyed, cremated, whatever you want to call it. And it would be good for America, for Israel, and for the world if the United Nations, the way it is governed today, the way it is set up today, is destroyed soon. And this is based on, I just got angry about reading about how the United Nations have voted to put Iran on the Commission for the Status of Women. I got some news for you. They stone women in Iran for adultery. Clerics are now blaming women for earthquakes, or women with cans for earthquakes. It's getting ridiculous. We are putting communist, socialist, just murdering thugs on all kinds of commissions and boards at the United Nations who have a direct control over the lives of tens of millions, if not billions of people sometimes. This is getting ridiculous. This is just one after another of the blunders that the United Nations continues to make to this day. Just like their UN thugs down there supposed to be helping the people of Haiti are sitting on cruise boats down there having a good time, while people in Haiti are just walking around trying to make it through another day and another night. They live like animals down there. Of course, they've always been treated like animals down there. Even here in the United States, we haven't done much for the people of UN. Or, excuse me, the people of Haiti. UN, we've done too much for them. Anyhow, let me get to the point. Here is how you can destroy the United Nations once and for all. But you do it through reform, through the disguise of reform, even though technically it is reform in reality. And it is a way to save the UN and at the same time destroy it. Here's how it works. And I wrote this about 10 years ago. And I've written on it over the years of how this can be done. And a lot of people like it. And what I'm about to say did appear in the Jerusalem Post once. And a lot of people from all over the world sent me emails, and they really, really like the idea. And the people at Jerusalem Post, the editors, they like it too. But I'm not a very great communicator, so you're going to have to bear with me and try to pay attention and listen closely to what I'm saying and what this will do. It may take you a while to think about it, in order to consider it if you have the time. Simply put, the United Nations central power structure needs to be destroyed. That means the whole thing needs to collapse. The UN as we know it today just needs to just crumble. I don't mean the building. I just mean the people on it just need to disappear. It's down. Doesn't exist anymore. What you do then, you divide the United Nations into 4 departments. You have actually not 4 departments. Let's just say, I'll just use the word department, but 1 headquarters, 4 headquarters. Let's go with that. And I'm going to use the United States to host all 4 headquarters of what's the former UN now, but it's still, I'll just continue to call it the UN. The first one would be located, let's say, in New York City. The first headquarters would cover America, Canada, all of Europe, Ukraine, Soviet Union, Middle East, Israel. The second one would be located in Miami, Florida. It would cover all of Africa and parts of the Middle East, the Caribbean. The third one might be located in San Antonio, Texas. It would cover Mexico clear down to the bottom tip of South America. Peru, Chile, all the countries down there. The fourth one would be located in, let's say, Seattle, Washington, and it covers the rest of the Pacific Rim. And all these nations there, Australia, Thailand, the whole place. Each headquarters is separate from each other. And all the nations that are under its headquarters will be represented, but only there. and the others will be represented in whatever headquarters they're in. None will have anything to do with each other. So if they want to put sanctions on Iran, that's going to, they can meet to do that. Certain representatives can meet all four to have world sanctions on somebody, but they cannot fund each other any more money, and they cannot have control like they do now, where they can just, snap their fingers and everybody comes in a room to meet to just decide on one issue. All I'm simply saying is that it's dangerous to have an organization where a small group of people can have so much power over the whole world like this. That's dangerous. Yes, we are going to head for a world government one day. I know that. But this is what would work to help bring the reform that the United Nations needs. And the rest of the world is going to have to fund at least 3 of these headquarters. We might fund one of them, and probably one in New York. But probably the other 3 headquarters would be located maybe in Britain, Japan, Mexico City. I don't know. I don't care. But it needs to be divided into 4 to cover the 4 corners of the earth. And all the nations of the world are no longer going to be under one umbrella. That's all I'm simply saying. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of work that has to be done, and there's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of resistance. And people will always come up with some reason why you can't do it. But we need to try. It's dangerous for anyone to have that much power. Right now, the UN is basically weak. But if it became strong, it'd become like a I don't know, a raging lion, or a out of control, or some tiger that's on a killing spree. It's extremely dangerous, and we need to get rid of this beast, as I call it, before it's too late. Again, I'm aware we're going to have a one world government one day. I know that, but I hope it's not in my lifetime. But nonetheless, the United Nations has got to go, and the way to do so is to divide it. But it first has to collapse, and we need to just suffocate it from our 24 to 25% that we pay into it, because it's a waste of money. By having 4 headquarters, you can give more money to more nations around the world, and other nations that are smaller can get a little bit more attention. They don't get as much attention now, and that's what's badly needed now. You can contact your congressional representative, maybe they'll take a look at this. But I am going to continue to pitch it. When I've written it, it's a little bit easier to understand than when I communicate it this way. But the UN's got to go. And the only way to do that is through reform, and that is to destroy the central power structure and divide it. And take all that power away. Because this is a very anti-American and a very anti-Israel organization. It's just filled with what I call demons, just evil people. It may have started out with a good intentions or a good mission, but it's gone bad. Anytime you have anybody or any government or any group of people with so much power, it becomes corruptive, and they are corrupt. But our government is corrupt, and that's because they've been in power so long. It's time to take that power away from them, and this is how we can do it. This is what's called real reform. And again, my heart goes out to a lot of the smaller nations of the world because they're completely ignored. But this is one way to bring them a little bit more attention, because now each headquarters can deal with some of the smaller issues in some of these smaller nations and won't be ignored anymore, because now they will be represented at the table and have a bigger say. It's a very complicated thing, but it's not as complicated as it may sound. I'm just simply saying that this Iran thing, where we're now putting murderers up on a commission on the status of women when they murder women, when they look at women as nothing but animals. That's not right. And yet, most of the liberals here in America, they just completely, okay, no problem. I don't get it. I'm completely dumbfounded by the stupidity and by the hypocrisy of the left in America. They sit here and run their mouths about human rights and things like that, and when things like this come up, they're completely, deathly silent. Some of them will speak up, but most don't. It's amazing. But anyway, I would take a look consider my idea. I think it would work. It's just a matter of getting these thugs up in Washington and in Congress to do something about it. But we've got to get rid of the UN, and we've got to reform it, and the only way to do so is to divide it into 4 headquarters, and maybe 1 here in America and the other 3 out of our country, and stay out of our country. And that's the best way to deal with this, and save us a few bucks too. Thank you for your time, and I hope my idea one day becomes a reality because it's in our own national interest.